Nice to meet you today.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, so it's really great to have you here today as you're representing Rice Robotics. So before we really begin and dive into a lot of the questions that we have for you, could you first introduce yourself?
Yep. So my name is Victor Lee. I'm the founder and CEO of Rice Robotics. So in Rice Robotics, we build autonomous service robots. Now we have delivery robots, disinfection robots, and patrol robots. And our vision is really we wanted to build the autonomous service robots to deploy in everywhere in every industry. That's why we came up with the slogan that we have is automation for all. That's the idea behind that slogan.
So before you came up with this slogan, "Automation for All," were there any other deeper thought processes, or did you guys have any other slogan that you could have potentially decided on?
No, at the beginning, we really, just only focusing one use case is the delivery. But when we get to the market, the longer we in the market, we discover that that autonomous technology not only can serve, not only just for delivery, but we can also serve the other kind of market industry. For example, now we have developed disinfection robots and patrol robots that can serve, a lot of facility management like shopping malls and office buildings. So with one technology, you can really serve, different kinds of industry and market. So that's why we have the idea of what's meant for automation for all.
I see. I would say that it's definitely really benefiting the society right now because
Yep.
it's not human, right? It's robot.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and also everyone is talking about contactless, right? During the pandemic, we didn't expect the pandemic at the beginning. I think it's also I'd say it's really lucky for us. I mean, lucky for the whole robotic industry, as well as not only just us, but with COVID, it's really driving the demand for everyone in the robotic industry. So, yeah.
That's right. But before, I mean, this is something that we didn't really expect, right? As you just mentioned. So I guess you could say that you're lucky, but even before you really started this entire thing and before the stage, you did some things to identify an opportunity potentially in the market, or just what was the thought process or inspiration behind you deciding to focus on robotics?
Yeah, my inspiration is quite interesting. So I studied in the U.S. So I think 4 years ago, I traveled back to the U.S. and I saw a robot. It's actually it's on the sidewalk, and that robot is going through going to a restaurant, and someone came out from that restaurant and put a package, a meal into that robot, and that scene really inspired me to think about why we never seen that before in Asia, in most of the Asia country, right? And that scene is really inspirational. That kind of so my way back to Hong Kong, I always thought about how we can bring this product, this business in Hong Kong. It's not just Hong Kong, in Asia. So that's also the reason why we came up with the name of Rice Robotics, because rice is the common food for Asia country, most of the Asia country, and we wanted to build a robot that can serve everyone, become one of the things of their common life. So that's why we call ourselves Rice Robotics.
I would say that it's a really creative name, and it also sticks to people. I feel that because Viola, another entrepreneur, a friend of yours, mentioned Rice Robotics. I would say that it just stuck to my head all the time.
Yeah, it's a very generic name. If you want people to remember your product, your company, you have to have something, that's so generic.
Right. And I think what's really special or what's really interesting about Rice Robotics is that you guys focus on building both hardware and software, right? You guys are not just focusing on hardware when it comes to robotics, which is the case of a lot of companies out there. Would you say that there were more struggles doing this or benefits taking this approach?
Well, I would say the challenge you get to multiply your challenge because you're building, try to do the best of both worlds, like what you mentioned, hardware and software. So you need to have talent from the software field, and you need someone from the hardware who understand mechanics, electronics, and combine it all together. So I think it's really a challenging process to get the right talent to really work on the product and make that things come true. But we end up pull this off. Within 6 months we have our first prototype and test it out in the market. And yeah, I would say it's really it's not that smooth, but we have challenge, but we end up get it done. Yeah.
I see. So in the end, although it was challenging, but you guys are seeing some
Yeah.
success, and that's
Yeah.
making you guys happy, right?
Yeah, I think finding the right people is the first thing you need to do as a entrepreneur.
So what was your strategy, in your opinion, in finding these right people?
Well, I think you need to talk to a lot of people in the industry. Someone might know someone you really want to bring into the team. So you need to talk to a lot of people. That's for sure, especially in that industry. If you're in the robotic industry, you need to talk to a lot of professor. Go to different places, university. Talk to the professor, talk to the student. Talk to a lot of those talent, and end up you will get the right people. But you need to spend time and invest a lot of time in that.
So a huge part of this entire process of getting the right people is also giving them the confidence and really getting them to understand what you're doing and convincing them, right?
Yep, that's true. It's just same as when you have to pitch to your investor or your clients. It's just the same when you pitch to your future employee, your staff, your team members, right? You have to pitch your vision, your idea, your product, why your product is gonna work. How it's gonna be in the next 5 and 10 years. You have to have them to believe in that idea. In order to get them to come on board.
I see. And we are talking about this one challenge that entrepreneurs should really think about, like getting the right team. And I think that a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs out there, they're not necessarily fully informed on just how challenging a lot of things can be to create your own business. So besides this one challenge of getting the right people, getting the right team, can you also talk about your other initial setbacks and other challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur?
Well, there's a lot. Actually, I think um, I'm very lucky to have now we have a team of 9, and I think our team is pretty much everyone is very independent and know what they're doing. Um, my first job was in Google Van, and I have a lot of experience in dealing with managing issues, with people, and when your company get getting a lot of people, you need to deal with company culture problem, all that stuff, and you really would divide your focus on the business and also the managing part. So um, I would say that is the most challenging thing you need to handle as an entrepreneur, how you handle the business and also the internal issues at the same time. Yeah.
I see. So focusing on both the internal and external ones. That's
Yeah. So you really need, probably, someone like me. I'm the founder. I'm the solo founder in the company, and I don't have any external help from somewhere. So it's all on myself to really try to solve those puzzles. But do talk to your team. They if they're town, they understand what you're facing, what the company is facing, and they try to help you to get through this. So talk to your team is very important. Yep. And
Mhm.
be open up. I know a lot of founders is trying to put everything on his and on her shoulders and try to solve it themselves. And but I think my approach is really talk to your people, talk to your team, and trust them. That's how we've been through the whole this 2 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see. And is there any other failure that you've experienced that you think ultimately contributed to your success besides this idea of working with the team and the management aspect?
Well, I think a lot of failures, try and errors. I would say, especially we're building a hardware a product, a robots, and of course, there's a lot of trial and errors. Especially, when we first deploy in our first site, our first paying clients, we our robots still have a lot of problems. To be honest with you, have a lot of issues on the operation, on the quality. Yeah, but we end up learning a lot, and get the feedback from our clients, and keep improving every day and try to fix the things overnight. We just have to make this happen. So everyone in the team understand that, and that's why we are able to get through all this. Yeah.
Would you say that you're as someone who would rather prefer to take time, or when things do seem to speed up, you would want to really go with the flow? Like
Well,
what's your
I
strategy?
try to be both. I try to be both, because sometimes the market will tell you what you need to do. So you really don't have to push that hard, to in order to get business. Sometimes the market will tell you what you need to do for the next step. So I try to sit back and wait for the next big thing happen, and that will kind of signal us what to do. And when the signal arrives, you just have to execute fast to grab that chance. Yeah.
Well, that's actually really interesting. Would you say that the COVID situation is kind of one example of that?
Yeah, that's true. It's a great example. Our business is thriving in the whole year in 2020. Because of COVID. To be honest, it's really driving the demand, and also because of COVID, we learn a lot about our user behavior when using our robots, and how to improve our robot for the next in our next product. So yeah.
I see. So when you consider all of these things that we just talked about, like failures and what kind of things that you should focus on as an entrepreneur, do you think that there's some sort of pattern or formula to becoming a successful entrepreneur?
Well, I agree. The most of the successful entrepreneurs that I know personally, they do have some very similar traits, some very similar character, I would say. Um, Most of them are really good at leadership. I mean, most of them, like, they came from a very normal background, like not a very outstanding background, just a normal background, but they do have some similarities in their personalities. Someone, for example, like Viola, she's very good at leadership. She's very good at pitching her vision, and also same with my former boss, Stephen Lam from Google One. He's also uh, uh, very good at leadership. So I think, yeah, they all have very similar character.
I see. So that's really interesting. So you're saying that they do seem to share that a certain similar characteristic, which
Yeah,
is leadership.
yeah, yeah, and just they're all very good at pitching their ideas, and no matter you're in what kind of circumstances, what kind of environment, if they have to do it, they just do it. You know, yeah.
I see. So let's talk a little more about Rice Robotics,
Yep.
your company. I know that you recently participated in the Jumpstarter
Yep.
organized by Alibaba, and you were awarded the Social Impact Award.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So could you share with us some of your experience with Jumpstarter then?
Well, I think one of the most interesting thing that you get to, get out from Jumpstarter is that you have the chance to pitch with all the famous, all the top-notch investor in the industry. So when they ask you questions, they ask deep, tough questions that get you to think about, what's the next step, how to answer these questions, then it leads you to think about, you know, the next 5 or 10 years, what happened with your company. So that's really what you get out from joining Jumpstarter. You get a lot of feedback and good questions from all these people.
Would you recommend this kind of event to other entrepreneurs then?
Well, of course, sure. It's a really great chance that you get to know not only this investor, but you also get to know other entrepreneurs who are in a similar stage as you. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, you sometimes you get a lot of pressure. The best way to do to relieve this pressure is to talk to your friends, and if your friends is entrepreneur, they'll understand your situation, and you get some very best advice from them. So
Mm, I see. So then, since you got the Social Impact Award, I wanted to hear from you. What significance does this idea of social impact have for you?
well, I can't tell right now because we only received the notification from them since last Friday. But we're happy and very really grateful for the awards. So yeah, can't tell right now, but we'll keep you posted. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
And I really like the idea of you guys, which is making the world more productive, creative, and safe with autonomous robots.
yep.
And could you elaborate a little more about this?
Well, I would say robotics, especially surface robot, right now they're still very early stage. Although we see, in the last 5 to 10 years, there's a lot of robots in China, in some other countries, but I would still say the adoption is still early stage. So in terms of safety, in terms of the adoption, in terms of the quality, it's still early stage. So what we mean is that in the next 5 to 10 years, we really want to bring out something that's really safe and common for people to use, especially for robots, service robot, to use in your everyday life. That's what we wanted to achieve, in the next 5 years.
I see. And how do you see, maybe next 5 years, or you could say even beyond, how do you see this idea of automation and robots shaping our future then?
Well, I say as common as, in next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be as common as smartphone and laptops. Now COVID is really, driving up the demand for robotics. We're seeing the spike in adoption. But in the next 5 years, it's going to be, a lot things a lot more larger than right now. Now we're using Zoom call for a lot of conference, right? It's the same for robotics. Everyone wants to use robots for disinfection, for cleaning, for delivery. Try to minimize the contact from human to human. And we believe even after COVID, robot is here to stay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say personally, when I think about it now, since COVID has happened, people are a little more cautious about the human
Yep.
to human interaction. So I
Yep.
think, yeah, I agree. It would certainly be a more of a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So besides this impact on our world or the way we live our lives, how do you see automation impacting the business environment specifically in the coming years?
Well, I would say for business like hotels and shopping malls, like facility management, it's where service robot will have to enter because everyone is talking about labor saving. Everyone is talking about labor costs and drive efficiency. I think for robotics, it's really it's here to go to those market. So yeah.
Is there like anything that you have to do to convince those people, like when it comes to conducting business? How do you go about presenting you and your invention to those people?
Yeah. So when you're pitching to your clients, first thing you really have to do is your product has to have quality. It has a good quality because um, even you're building a very advanced product, you will have competitors. When they compare your product to your competitors, you have to have something different, right? In terms of the build quality of your robots, or the user experience is very simple. you know so you have to show this to your clients and make it very explicit why you are different. And the other thing is you have to have a job reference. Our robots have already been deployed to this location, that location, and show it to clients, make them feel more confident on using your product. So you really have to show them all these things.
How about the preparation work behind that before you actually present it to your clients? Could you tell us about your experience, like brainstorming or drafting a script, or anything that you had to do in the planning stage?
Well, that's a good thing when you're a entrepreneur, a solo founder. So you get to understand the sales part a lot. So what we do is we try to make a call to our clients first before a pitch. We try to understand what's their pain point and why they wanted to use a robots. And the ultimate intention from them is what for example, a lot of them wanted to do have labor saving. So we try to design a price structure, a cost structure for them that can justify the labor saving. That way you can solve their pain point directly, and they get to love your product and stick to your product for the long term. So you really have to understand why your customers, why your users want to use your product. It's really important.
It's really convincing hearing from you, knowing that you've secured partnerships with clients that are really high end,
Yep.
Such as Schindler and Otis, for
Yeah.
instance.
Yeah.
So could you share with the audience out here about how you secure these two partnerships specifically?
Well, our partnerships start with, so we're a company in Cyberport. We're incubators of Cyberport, and also our office is located in Science Park in Shatin. So we have a lot of support from these two organizations. So especially when you're Hong Kong, homegrown robotic company, you get a lot of support from them, from the government. So they're also really helpful. Try to connect you to all the corporates out there that wanted to adopt robotics. This is how we get in touch with them.
Yeah, so you've had a huge journey. I would say 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a pretty long time. Also
Yeah.
short in a way, but I'm sure that you did a lot of things in that
Yeah.
time and learned a
Yeah.
lot. So,
Yeah.
so what would you say is one of, maybe you can list one, two, three, depending on how much you can think right now. What were some of the biggest learnings or takeaways that you would say in this 2 years?
Well, I would say communication with your team. Communication is a really important part of your entrepreneurship life, because and communication is really important. You talk to your clients, you talk to investor, you talk to your team. It's really important. Get to get in sync with all these people on a daily basis. And if you're not good at communications, you're gonna screw it up in one point. So I know a lot of founders are engineers, are technical people. Some of them are really bad at communication, and I would say you have to do everything, put in all your effort to improve your communication skills. At some point you have to talk to your clients. As CEO, definitely you have to talk to clients. As Elon Musk said, go to the front line. If you're a CEO, try to understand your clients, what they need and why they need your product, and keep improving it. So communication is the number one things that I would say you have to improve.
I see. When it comes to communication and improving it, I was like I could relate to you when you were talking about being a technical person, being an engineer, because I also do have a computer science background, and so I know like how hard it is to communicate to other people,
Yeah.
the thought processes behind certain things that you produce.
Yeah, it's the same to me. I have a full team of engineers, and I work with a lot of engineers in the field, and I do understand. Some of them are really talented, really talented and good at something. But communication, if you're running business, you have to talk well.
So really going outside of your comfort zone and really talking to
Yeah.
people. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So before we end our interview today, I just want to ask you one last question.
Yep.
What's one piece of advice that you would give to those aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
Well, I would say it's really good questions. Um, The number one things came up of my mind is if you're starting business, if you're ready to start a business, or you have an idea in your mind, um, go execute it. Don't just sit here and try to do nothing and just have the idea in your mind for a whole year. It's not gonna make it's not gonna get you there. I talk to a lot of people, talk to a lot of entrepreneurs in previous years. Some of them are they don't have the capital, they don't have the team, or they don't have something to work this out. Well, I would say get your PowerPoint ready. At least try to do something. When you have something ready, um, maybe someone will come to help you. So really it's about execution. So as Nike said, just do it.
Right. I totally agree with that. Just do it. Because even if you do it, and if you don't do it, you're not going to learn from it, right? At least
of course.
You learn from
and if you fail, you get the experience, right? And end up you're learning, right? You're not getting nothing from the whole experience. To end up you're learning. So I would say just do it.
Right. That's really great. Inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah. So thank you for the interview today, Victor. It was really good to see you.
Yeah. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the interview.
And we are going to really look forward to how Rice Robotics progress.
Thank you. All right. Keep in touch with you.